Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Nice job, guys. UK's Challenger 2 triumphs NATO in NATO tank competition. Preemptive like. The original link to the video, top of the description. Below that, link to the Discord. It's a short video, but I saw it and I couldn't, pass it up. So let's go. Iron Spear 2023 Armored Vehicle Competition for main battle tanks. Well, UK. You guys see them skip in the air? I thought this was an animation at first, but I don't think it is. Look at that one. I'm already pausing before I start the video. See that? Oh my god. Looks like you got Italy, France, Great Britain, Poland. Does every NATO country have its own battle tank?
Our regiment was one of the regiments that gifted Challenger 2s to the Ukrainians. And the fact that one of those Challenger 2s has just won a competition as a lethal tank, one of the most lethal tanks in NATO, is really reassuring, I think, for those Ukrainians that will be using them on the battlefield. Whilst we are getting an upgrade to the Challenger 2, I still believe that the Challenger 2 has proven on the tank competition is still one of the most effective tanks out there, in battle tanks. The competition basically set them against a clock, and there was also the accuracy in terms of how many targets they could engage within that time limit. One of the most potent things about the Challenger 2 is that it's got something called the hunter-killer mode. That means that the commander can be independently scanning to acquire targets, whilst the gunner is also trying to acquire targets, but in different arcs. That means if the commander picks up a target first, he can then align the whole weapon system onto that target, hand it off to the gunner, who can then carry out the engagement arcs. That means if the commander picks up a target first, he can then align the whole weapon system onto that target, hand it off to the gunner, who can then carry out the engagement, whilst the commander then goes to scan the gunner's arc to make sure that the sort of full battle space in front of you is covered and you're acquiring targets as quickly as humanly possible. And then it's a full team effort, so the operator needs to be able to load the weapon system fast enough for the commander acquiring targets, gunner engaging them, and him loading the rounds in between. And the driver, again, very key, because the way the driver operates and drives the Challenger 2 can be a game changer in terms of the crew and their accuracy in firing, etc. So that team working together in the turret, when it's working exceptionally well, as was proven on Iron Spear, and it all comes together, you're able to sort of achieve that effect. And they were presented with a large iron spear as the sort of prize for winning that. So they'll very proudly bring that back. We'll get a ship back to the UK, and it will become part of regimental history, which is really good.
Is it over? Yeah. By the way, is that like a tank ghillie suit? Is that how you say it? It just looks so much more badass when it's covered in foliage and whatnot. But I'm kind of confused because so the head of the guy sets up the target,
and you're acquiring targets as quickly as, whilst the commander then onto that commander picks up a target first to acquire targets, but in different arcs. That means if the commander picks up a target first, he can then align the whole weapon system onto that target, hand it off to the gunner, who can then carry out the engagement, whilst the commander then goes to scan the gunner's arc to make sure that the sort of full battle space in front of you is covered.
Okay. So the commander, it seems to be the one. So does the commander the one that really has to aim the gun. See, I don't know how automated all of the aiming is, and how much of it is just like, all right, you got to pick this, and then it's like the difference between an iron sight and a, like, I'm sure you had to be much more, careful aiming back in the day. I have no idea. But I'd imagine it's a lot of computerized aiming stuff. I don't know. I'm just sounding more stupid as I talk, so, which I am at this stuff for sure. Really cool video. Congrats, guys. That's a really cool thing to be #1 in for sure. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye, guys.